Hello?
Yo,
Coming in clear.
what it do
Hello?
with what it does.
Okay, cool. Before you ask, I was born in 2001. So,
Cool.
yep. Yeah, I caught the tail end of that, last debate, I guess. Not with the kid who showed up first, like with the woman. And she was asking about
hmm
where morality comes from. I guess, like, can you guys go more in depth in
hmm
that?
Yeah, I was trying to, but here's what I was trying to explain is throughout time we've had actions as human beings, and we've started to understand empathy and compassion and what harm is and what flourishment is, both the positive and negative evaluations of actions. And that's where the assessment or value of morals comes from. It's a humanistic quality, it's a humanistic descriptor, and a humanistic concept.
Okay, so I guess then my next question is what standard are we using to be able to effectively judge what's morally good versus what's morally bad then?
Our own standard. This
Well,
is a humanistic standard. Comes from humans, it's developed by humans and used by humans.
aren't humans constantly undergoing change, whether that be through,
Yes,
long-term
yeah,
change like
that's a good thing.
evolution?
That's where that's where a positive net gain comes from morality. For example, 200 years ago, people were owned as property, as slaves, and through change, through the understanding of that change and understanding of human rights, we know that we've had a positive net gain in trying to eradicate slavery. It hasn't been outright eradicated because unfortunately it still exists in the world, but we're doing better than we were 200 to 300 years ago.
Well, how could you objectively quantify we're doing better in terms of, I don't know, human rights,
Well,
for
that's the thing
example?
is morality is not something that is objectively quantified unless like you've some method that objectively quantifies it that you're aware of. If so, I'd love to know what that is.
Well, it seems like you're doing that right now by saying we're doing so much better because we've gotten rid of, I don't know,
I
slavery,
didn't
for
say
example.
objectively. I didn't say we gotten rid of it. I said we're working on it and doing our best subjectively, like we have been the entire time as human beings.
So we subjectively got it better.
Yeah, exactly. They're not
And
static.
so it could, so we can only determine subjectively something's better and subjectively something worse. There's no actual, like, okay, objectively slavery is evil, for example.
Well, how would you objectively evaluate that?
I'm asking you.
Well, that's the thing is I don't know how we would objectively evaluate that. I don't see a method in which we can do that.
Then why are you making claims that we are getting better at, for example, promotion of human rights and human flourishing? Like, I'm just wondering where you're drawing this sense
Because
of morality from.
better is a subjective evaluation. Do you think that it's an objective one?
Uh, yeah, I would assume if you're saying something's better than something else, like for example, that guy over there is better than the other guy in terms of physical strength because he could, I don't know, bench press more. Like, yeah, that would be an objective
So,
standard.
like we could use that same standard to say Goku is better than like Krillin, right?
Yeah, in sense of obviously, like, Goku's a better fighter than Krillin
Right.
because he could, you
But
know,
that's a evaluation of subjectivity, right?
no. If we're gonna use Goku versus Krillin, Goku beats Frieza. Krillin was
But do
unalived by
they
Frieza, correct?
do those things? But do they objectively exist?
Well, objectively within the show, obviously, they exist.
Well, no, that's still subjective.
How is that subjective? Like within the show, Goku, Krillin, and Frieza, they all exist
So they objectively exist.
within the show.
Well, then within the show is adding a subjective descriptor.
No, it's an objective descriptor. How would it be a subjective descriptor?
Well, how is it objective, though? I mean, do they objectively exist?
Are you talking about like what we would call reality?
Like in reality? Like
No,
in our reality? Yeah.
no.
Right.
So like, but we're talking about within the show, within
So
the
do
context of
morals
the show.
exist? Are they like, are morals a real thing that exists like outside of minds?
I'm not sure. You have to provide an argument for that. And if you're going to declare that we are
Well, I think
objectively,
they're mind
if
dependent.
we are getting better, they're mind dependent. Okay, so they're mind dependent. So therefore,
Yes.
you can't object. You can't make the case that we're getting better as a society by getting rid of slavery. Then,
Not objectively, no, exactly.
not objectively. Cool. You just proved my point that you don't have any sort of objective morals
Right.
as an atheist.
Well,
Okay. So
what
then,
are objective morals? What are objective morals?
morals that are true?
So it's true that slavery diminishing,
Yeah. Sure.
even though it's a subjective fact,
I could
it's still objective. I don't understand.
I could steel man the argument real quick. So, for example, a Christian might argue that slavery is bad because it diminishes the value of that human being who's being enslaved, precisely because that goes
I
against
can
God's
do that
command in the Bible.
subjectively as. Wait, it goes against Leviticus 25:44 through 46.
Whoa, no, that's not the argument. That's not the argument. Well, I'm just simply stating the argument that a Christian may deliver. What I'm asking you then
But that's
is
a subjective framework is under Christianity, which is
under
a subjective
Christianity.
belief system.
No, Christianity purports itself to be objectively true.
Right, that's the subjective claim, but what objectively
That's not a
demonstrates
subjective
that
claim. That's
Christianity
an
is
objective
true?
claim.
It is a subjective.
No,
it's
we're
a
talking
subjective
about
claim.
morality right now. We're talking about don't.
Remember
I'm
when
not
we were
trying.
talking about under the framework of Dragon Ball Z, Goku is stronger, right?
Sure,
But
but
we
unlike Dragon Ball
understand
Z,
that to
but
be-
that's a false equivocation.
No, it's not.
It is because Dragon Ball Z purports itself to be a TV show and a manga series created by Akira Toriyama. Christianity purports
Right.
itself to be the true path of knowledge.
Okay,
And
so what objectively demonstrates Christianity to be true?
well, I was not necessarily making that claim. The claim I was making is that the Christian can
so
make an objective moral
It's
claim
under the
because they
subjective
have objective
framework.
justification, and that God exists, and God says
That's the claim.
humans are
That's
made
the
in the
subjective
image of
claim,
God. That's not a subjective claim.
which is a subjective claim.
Everything would
so
be a
what is
subjective claim.
objectively true? What is objectively true about Christianity?
That's not relevant to the argument.
Yes, it is.
No,
if
it's
that's
not.
what you're claiming this framework is, and that it's an objective standard, then why
No.
are you using a subjective framework?
No, what I'm saying is that Christianity is an objective framework in the sense it purports to be the true path of knowledge, true path of God.
Right. And
Stuff
what
like
establishes that in reality? What establishes that in reality, objectively?
Well, you would have to ask a Christian who would make various arguments based upon,
Then I would
epistemology.
get a subjective answer.
It's not a subjective answer. How would that be a subjective
How is it
answer?
objective? How is it objective?
How is it objective? If they're able to prove it, and again, I'm trying. Again,
Has anyone done that?
maybe not. Right now, though, I'm still trying to find out why
Okay,
we
so
should
that's
listen
subjective.
to you. Wait. Let me make the argument, though. Right now, which
I'm trying to figure
probe
out
you.
why we should listen to you.
No,
why
because
you
you're
say you
the
have an
one.
objective standard
You're the one.
without
I never did.
demonstrating this
I never
to
did.
be objective.
I
So
never
you
did.
don't have an objective standard.
No, I never did. So I never did. What I am
So you
saying.
never-
Wait. Let me make the argument. I am
Okay.
wondering, because you said at the beginning of this conversation, society has improved because we have taken steps in getting rid of slavery. And then I asked you about it, and you said, oh, it's
subjectively.
subjectively better. Okay, and I could just say
Yes.
it's subjectively worse. By your own standard, you can't
Okay,
actually
how?
prove me wrong on that.
How is it worse?
Because I said
How is
so.
it worse?
Because subjectively it's worse.
Okay, so you have nothing other than your opinion.
Yeah, you have the exact same thing. You have nothing other than your opinion by your own
So
worldview.
your opinion So your opinion of Christianity being subjective, what establishes that as objective?
How is that related to my counter argument to your
In
position?
every way.
No, no, it's
In
not. It's
every
not at
way.
all because you're trying to shift the argument
It's
to it's a
very
Christianity
relative.
true debate.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the
Yeah,
intention
you
of
agree.
this.
You agree.
That's why I'm
Exactly.
hosting
It's
this
an
live,
intention. It's an
is to
intention of it because you don't
establish
have because you hold
that
on to
Christianity
metaphysical.
is
No,
objective.
well, no, you hold
What
on to.
establishes Christianity
Do you
as
believe?
objective?
Do you believe humans are equal? Yes or no?
What
Do you
establishes
believe humans are equal? Yes or
Christianity
no?
as objective?
Do you believe
What
humans are equal? Yes or
establishes...
no?
Why are you running from the
I'm
question?
not running
What
from the question.
establishes
I'm a
Christianity
Nietzschean.
as
I'm a Nietzschean
objective?
amoralist, and you're holding on to metaphysical belief systems I don't agree with, such as equality.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I never said that.
Do you believe humans are
You're
equal?
strawmanning me.
Okay. Do you
I
believe
never
humans are
said
equal?
that. So do you...
No, no,
So
no.
what is the
Do you believe?
objective
Wait, wait. Let me.
standard? What is
Do you
the
believe
objective
humans are
standard,
equal?
and why
Yes
do
or
you
no?
keep running from it? What is the objective standard, and why do you keep running from it?
Do you believe humans are equal? Just answer my question first, and we can get on to your questions. Okay.
So, what is the objective standard, and
But
how is
I
this
said answer my
established?
question first.
Yeah, I don't care about your question. What is
Yeah,
the
of course you
objective
don't care. Of
standard?
course you don't care. You want me to
Right,
follow
because you
your
can't
silly little
answer it.
script.
You're
You want me to
failing.
follow your
You're
little
failing.
script.
You're failing.
You
You're
want me to
failing.
follow your little
You're
script.
flailing.
I'm not flailing.
I
I'm not
want you
flailing
to
at all.
demonstrate your argument is
Do you
valid.
believe humans
that
are
we have
equal? Yes
an
or no?
objective set of morals, and you're not
I
establishing
told you
that
I'm a
there is an
Nietzschean. I don't believe in
objective
morality at
set
all.
of morals.
I literally
Okay,
told
so
you.
then morals don't exist.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm a Nietzschean amoralist, and I'm wondering
Okay.
how is
Okay.
humanity better without slavery? By your standard.
So again, you're arguing for what? What is your argument for?
I'm arguing that you, as a supposed atheist who does not hold to any metaphysical beliefs, you hold on to metaphysical beliefs. That's my argument.
Okay, so
Do you believe
so
humans
what?
have equal value?
Do you think
Do you
do
answer
you think
questions
that
with
you've
questions?
provided
Do you
think
answer
that you've
questions with
provided
questions?
any do you think you've provided anything to this argument?
The whole thing, yeah, you literally just proved my point when
What
you
have
said
you provided? What have you provided?
I didn't need to provide anything because you provided my whole argument for me. Is
When
that
did I do
yeah?
that?
Is when you said that society improving is subjectively better, not objectively better.
Yes.
So therefore, by
Yes.
the same standard,
So why do we need
let
an
me make the
objective
argument.
standard? So
Let me
we
make the
don't need an
argument.
objective standard, or we do? Do we
Well,
need an
by
objective
your
standard?
standard,
Yes
we
or no?
don't, and then you
Do
would have.
we-
Let me
do
make the
we- do we
argument.
need-
Let me make the argument.
we
Stop
need-
spurging.
Do we need an objective
Stop
standard?
spurging.
Yes or no?
Stop spurging.
Do
Let
we
me make
need
the
an
argument.
objective standard? Yes or no?
Let me make the argument first, then I will answer.
Do we
your
need
question.
an objective standard? Yes or no?
Host, stop interrupting. Let me make the
Do
argument.
we need an objective
Host,
standard? Yes or no?
Host, I'm trying to answer your question. You keep interrupting
Do we
me.
need an
I'm
objective
trying to,
standard?
Host,
Yes or no?
You first asked me, how did I provide anything to the conversation? I'm trying to answer that question. And then now you're trying to pivot away from that to something completely else.
Do we need an objective
Host,
standard? Yes
stop
or no?
spurging out and let me answer the question. Okay? Can I answer the question? Can I answer both questions, please?
Is it a yes or no?
It's a more
Do we need
complicated
an
answer
objective
because you asked me
standard?
two different questions, host.
Yes or no?
You asked
So
me
do
by
you-
your
do we
standard,
need-
yes. By your standard,
do
you
we
wouldn't need
need-
an objective
Do
standard.
we need... Why?
Why? Because how could you declare that something is subjectively better? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't follow. How is it subjectively better? Or that slavery is gone? How is it subjectively
Define
better?
better.
You're the one
Define
who
better.
used the word better. You're the one who has to define it.
Right. So you don't know what I said.
Yeah, I asked you at the beginning of this conversation about your stance of morality. And you said it generates
And I
from
explained
time.
it.
Which essentially
Yes.
sounds like and if I'm misquoting you or if I'm misinterpreting your stance, please correct me. It sounds like you're someone who believes in Whig history. Do you know what Whig history is?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is or why you're straw manning me under
That's-
this
It's not a strong.
So
It was a
what
question. It was a question. The reason why I'm asking, because Whig historians essentially say the humanity is always progressing forward, and it comes to social norms. For example,
uh-huh.
like getting rid of
Okay.
slavery is a thing you brought up. Is a
Okay.
classic argument of, oh, humanity's better because we got rid of slavery, and I asked you, why is that better? Because that was your claim, that humanity is
Because
getting
people
better.
aren't owned as property
And
and they're seen as equitable human beings
why is that a good? Why is that an
instead
odd?
of property.
Why is
Because
that,
properties are an object,
or
right?
human beings not objects in your own worldview?
We don't own each other.
Why is that not? Like, why shouldn't humans own other humans?
What does ownership of a human entail? Does that mean that they still have the rights they had before ownership? Or are they
No,
deprived of those rights?
no, and why should we hold on to these rights? Would be the next question. Like, what makes them
Because they're
objectively
natural
better?
rights.
They're natural rights.
There is, well, that's the thing is you keep saying objectively. Why do we need an objective standard?
Well, you're the one who's declaring that, oh, if we take human
So
rights
why
away,
do
that's
we
bad.
need an
That
objective
implies
standard? Why
that
do we
implies
need
a
an
standard of
objective
objectivity.
standard?
You're the one who has provided that standard because you're the one declaring it's better.
No, that's a straw man. Why
That's
do we
not a
need
straw
an
man. That's
objective
not a
standard?
straw man at all. You're the one that's saying,
Why do
no,
we need
host,
an objective
host, you're
standard?
not, host,
Answer
you're
the
not trying to
question.
take your own belief
Look.
system to the
All right,
logical conclusions
I'm
like I
not.
have.
I'm not doing this anymore.
No,
until
you have to
tell
mute me because
why.
you're losing.
Until
You have to mute me because you're
until you
losing.
tell me why. No, because you're waffling.
Host, I'm not
Excuse
waffling.
me. Excuse me. Stop. Just stop. Calm down. You're being
I'm
very
very
emotional
calm.
and irrational. Please
Irrational?
stop. Okay. Why do we need an objective standard? Without using anything I said, tell me why we need an objective standard.
So I should just take the argument completely out, take the context completely out, correct?
So why do we need an objective standard?
You're the one who's making ought claims.
Why do we need an objective standard?
You're the one making ought claims, societal
Why do
ought
we
claims.
need an objective standard?
You're the one
Why can't
making
you
prescriptive
answer the
claims.
Why are you
have to
saying
provide
what
justification
I'm saying?
for said claims, like for example, human rights.
Why do we need an objective standard?
You're the one who's making ought claims. You're the one
Why
who's
do we
making
need an
prescriptive
objective
ought
standard?
claims.
Why
That's
do we
your
need,
job. That's
why
your
do we
job.
need, why do we need an objective standard?
You're the one who made prescriptive ought claims.
Okay, you're losing right now.
No, you're the one who's losing because you have to mute me.
You're losing credibility. You're still not answering why we need an objective standard.
No, you're the one
Please tell
who's
me why.
coping and crying right now
No, I'm
because
not.
you can't
Stop.
provide
You're
an actual
coping and
answer.
crying because you can't answer the question
What are you
to why
talking
we
about?
need an objective standard. Why do we need an objective
You're the
standard?
one who's making prescriptive ought
Why
claims.
do we
Are
need
you
an
not?
objective standard?
You just said human
I'm
rights
going to
like
ask
everyone
you
agrees
5
with
more
that.
times. You have one more time. Okay.
Wait, I thought I had 5 more times. And like I said before,
that's 2
you're the one.
right here.
You're the
Why do
one
we need
who
an objective
is making
standard?
the prescriptive claims.
All right. Why do we need an objective standard? That's 3.
Host, I will be honest with you.
Why do we need an objective standard?
I'm answering
Why?
the question. I'm answering the
Okay.
question.
You've
Host.
got one more time. Why do we need an objective standard?
Host, what I'm saying is this. I am not prescribing any sort of objective, subjective, any sort
Neither
of
am I.
standard whatsoever. But you are, though,
Neither am
because you are declaring that slavery is wrong because it takes away the human
Mm-hmm.
rights of the people who are owned, which then entails the following question
Mm-hmm.
of, okay, why ought we have human rights? What is the benefit of that? Then that's your job to
benefit is
provide a
freedom.
justification.
The benefit is understanding the value of other human beings being equitable to one another. The understanding that we should not own each other as property, as objects. Why is that not sufficient?
Because that's a circular argument. Why should we
Good.
not?
That's
yeah,
fine.
that's
What's the problem with that?
What's the problem with a Christian saying?
What's the other
Wait,
standard?
wait.
What's the other standard?
Let me make the argument. Let me make the argument first. Then you would have no qualms with, I don't know, a Christian saying, for example, God is true because the Bible says so, and we know the Bible is true because God says so.
Well, that's the difference is we have a demonstration of human beings holding value in reality, but we don't have a demonstration of God holding
It's
value in reality.
Wait, is it
There's a
rules for
difference.
thee but not for me? Then is that what you're basically saying?
That's what God would say.
No, that's what you're saying right now. You have an issue with
No,
religious
I'm not.
people. You have an issue with religious people using circular arguments, but when you use your own arguments for circularity of slavery is bad because it takes away
Well, there's
human
a
rights,
demonstration human beings exist, right? Human beings exist, right?
whether or not something exists doesn't mean anything's actually good or
Okay.
bad.
Okay, so what does that mean? How do you assess what's good or bad?
I never claim I did. I'm an amoralist,
Okay.
and
Okay,
and
so
I
you don't even believe in morals, so you have no argument. What is your
no.
argument then?
Well, what I'm saying is that you do believe in morals. You can't actually justify.
Yeah, I'm not worried about me. What is your argument? What is your position?
The exact same position as you is that we don't have any sort of metaphysical justifications necessary for, God, for example. And I just apply that same logic to everything else with metaphysical justifications or things that need metaphysical justifications, like morality, for example.
Okay, so you're basically saying there is no metaphysical justification. So what are you arguing for?
Well, I'm arguing for exactly that. There's no metaphysical justifications for anything, and that includes morality, and that includes stuff like human rights.
Okay, so you don't have an argument for human rights. You don't have an argument for morals. So what are you here for?
My argument is the following. You are holding on to various metaphysical beliefs, even though you are a supposed atheist who only relies upon empirical means. And I am trying to
When did I ever
essentially,
say that?
or it says I'm an atheist.
Uh-huh.
That's
When
when
did
it
I
says
say I
that.
held to when did I say I held to metaphysical beliefs?
When you said you believe in equal rights.
Okay. How is that a metaphysical belief and not a objective standard? How
Because
are they metaphysical?
because equality doesn't actually exist.
Okay, so there is no equality. You have no argument. Again, what are you arguing
No, you
for?
just that's exactly my argument is like, for example, certain
Is you
humans
have no
are
argument?
better than other
That you have
human
nothing?
beings.
You don't have anything to provide?
No, host. I think maybe you are purposely not trying to understand because you're afraid of the conclusions that leads you down.
Oh, there's no fear here. I'm just like wondering why you're
Okay,
here if you
so
have nothing to offer.
well, I already told you, host, multiple times
That you have
that
nothing? That you have
I
nothing.
where did I say I have
You're
nothing?
arguing for, you're trying to make
Host,
something from nothing right now?
host, you're the one who's making something from nothing by believing in equal rights.
I'm not worried about what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to see what your argument is for.
Host, of course you're not
Because
trying to do anything
all you're
because if
saying
you
is
try
you're
to do
taking the
something, you
position,
lose.
you're taking the position
Host, I
of a
understand what you're trying to do.
non-cognitivist.
No, you're the one
You're
doing that
making the
right now.
position of
I
a
just literally stated that
non-cognitivist.
equality doesn't exist, for example, that equal rights are
Okay.
fallacious.
So you're under that framework that you're providing, where you don't have that standard, then slavery is a-okay for you?
There's no objective argument you can make against it, morally speaking, and by your own admission
Could
that
you make an objective argument against slavery? Could you do
no,
that?
I can't. I can't.
Okay.
But
So what are we
by your
left
own
with? A
position.
subjective argument? So we're
Yeah,
left
yeah,
with a subjective argument for or against slavery, right?
yeah,
So how
and
would we
subjectively speaking,
understand the difference? Uh-huh.
and subjectively speaking, I
Uh-huh.
find that your belief of equal rights is stupid and dumb, and you have no
All
good
right.
counter argument
Cool.
against that.
So there's no objective standard being
Or
provided in this entire conversation,
I,
correct?
I would say the only objective standard would be empirical evidence.
Okay. So what is the
I think we both
empirical
agree.
evidence for morality or moral
There's
oughts?
none. There's absolutely none.
So morality cannot be objective. Thank you.
Yeah, that we agree on that portion. The portion we don't agree on
Okay,
is, like, for
cool.
example, your promotion of equal rights. And the only argument I've heard against equal rights so far is equal rights. If we take away equal rights, that's bad because we shouldn't take away equal rights. Like that's a circular argument. And then when I pointed that out to you, you said,
Okay.
"Oh, okay, well,
Sure.
that's fine."
Yeah. So basically you're arguing for nothing and you're trying to
Arguing for
counter my
nothing.
argument with nothing.
No, you're the one who's making oughts. You're the one who's making prescriptive oughts right now. Like, for example, we should remove slavery.
When did I say we ought end all slavery? When did I
When
say that?
when you said that society progress, society has gotten better because we have taken steps to getting rid of slavery. That's when you made the ought
Yeah.
claim.
Yeah. That's what society did as a circle.
Society did as a circle. What do you mean by society did as a circle?
Yeah. We used a circle to reduce slavery.
We used what are you talking about?
All right. So if you're saying that this ought of owning people's property being reduced, even though it's a circle, we still reduced it. So I don't even understand like what you're arguing for.
Well, what I'm arguing for is, as a Nietzschean amoralist, as someone who holds no metaphysical beliefs, who only relies on empiricism, I am arguing that
Hmm.
your liberal worldview of equal rights, for example,
When did I say I
is
was
false.
a liberal? These are all assumptions.
Do you believe in democracy?
So do you think
Do
that
you believe
your
in democracy? Yes or no?
definition, do you think that your definitions are accurate?
Well, I'm just trying to wonder, or I'm just trying to see where you're coming
I'm
from,
just trying to
just
see
so I don't straw
what
man
you're
you.
doing here. I'm just seeing what you're doing here. What are you arguing for?
What am I
For
arguing for?
morals that don't exist? You
I
said you're
already told
arguing
you.
for
Do
epistemic nihilism, existential nihilism? Or are you arguing for a nihilistic Nietzschean perspective? Like, what are you arguing for?
yeah, when I declared I'm a Nietzschean amoralist, that should tell you everything.
Uh-huh. So you don't even believe morals exist.
I don't. I don't, and you do.
Okay. All right.
You do.
All right. So again, I'm just trying to figure out like why you're here other than to like ask me questions and be a contrarian.
I mean, whether or not, if I'm just trying to be a contrarian or not, that doesn't necessarily apply anything when it says ask me
So you don't
anything.
have a moral position, right?
No, I only rely on the truth and on what the
What
empirical
is the
science and
truth?
empirical study says.
Okay, what does that say? What
Like
is
for
that?
example, when it comes to equality, there is inequality all over the place, and trying to enforce equality is not in line with empirical standards.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And
And do you think equality is not real?
I mean, if that's the position you want to hold, then you can hold that position. But I'm just wondering
I'm wondering your
why.
position, man.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that. Like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
done
so you
trying
don't
to
give a
do
shit about your
that.
own
So,
position. Okay, I get it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I know
yeah,
you
that's
don't have
fine,
any
right?
actual argument when you said at the beginning of the debate things are subjectively better and subjectively worse, which is like,
Hmm.
okay, then
Yeah,
why are you trying to make a moral
people
ought claim
aren't
about
owned as
slavery then?
property.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and
people being owned as property under your view as a amoralist, that's okay.
there's no moral qualm I can make against anything, whether that's
Okay.
slavery, whether
So
that's
owning
murder,
people
whether
as
it's anything
property
else.
is a okay. That's okay with you. Slavery is okay with you. Grape is okay with you. All of these things don't matter.
I could make the subjective argument against them, but then
Okay.
ultimately that's morally
So could
subjective.
I.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the
Right.
point is that we don't
So
have
that's
any
all
sort
we've
of
got.
way.
So that's the point is that's all we've got is
Then
a
why are you
subjective
trying to
set of
make moral
morals.
ought claims on them?
Because, well, look, like none of us can make moral ought claims under that framework that you're providing. There's no
Yeah,
normative ethics. There's no applied ethics. There's no metaphysical ethics or meta ethics. So that doesn't follow at all.
well, how does it not follow? If there like, is there
So
like,
if we don't have meta ethics, which is the subjective evaluation of morals, then we don't have normative ethics.
yeah, we
And if
don't.
we don't have that baseline under normative ethics, which is the best thing to an ought that we can get, then we don't have laws, which are applied ethics, right? So you're arguing against laws. You do
No, not
realize that, right?
necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay, so how are you gonna like make this
Laws,
work?
yeah, well, laws generate from power. Ultimately, whoever owns power is going to generate laws. Whether
Okay,
or not
which
those laws are morally correct or not
is
is a
that an
completely different
ought?
thing.
Is that an ought? Is power an ought?
No, it's a descriptor.
So it's a descriptor, it's a suggestion, basically,
It's
like
not a
all laws are.
suggestion. It's not a suggestion. Like for example,
Okay,
if you
so what is it an ought?
it's not an odd. It's a descriptor. Any
Okay,
society, powers
I
can
agree.
be. Yeah, okay, we agree on that then.
So what
Hmm.
is the argument here? What's the contention? I still
What's
don't
the
understand.
contention? Well, the contention is like, for example, because you want to make moral ought claims, and you want to produce laws on, say, equal rights, but then you basically agree with me that equal rights don't exist. Why should we make laws on equal rights then?
And that's the question I'm trying to get you to ask for.
That's my question for
I'm
you,
just
dude.
trying to figure it out.
What?
Like, right, like I'm trying to figure that out too. So neither of us know the answer to that, right?
Yeah, well, if human rights don't exist, then what's the point of making laws based on that then, besides your own subjective feelings?
So what does equal mean to you?
Well, I'm gonna just say this. What I think your position is probably what probably the Declaration of Independence says, which is the pursuit of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Would you agree with that definition of equality?
I'm asking you what equal means, and you're trying to turn it to me to say that I have a different
No, no,
value
no,
of
no,
that.
no,
But
no,
what
no.
is your
I'm trying.
what is your definition? What
I'm
is your
trying.
definition of equal?
I'm saying that
I'm
when I
asking for your I'm asking for your definition of equal.
A is equal to A would be equality.
Okay, so a human would be equal to a human.
Sure, in that sense,
Okay,
in the sense of
so
their
we're
ontology, they
back
would
to
be
the
equal to each
circle
other.
again. Okay, so we're back to the circle.
No, but you still haven't provided the justification for the ought of human A should be treated the same as human B just because they have the same ontology of being a human being.
I'm sorry, I don't understand any of this.
I'll break it down in a more simple term or a simple way.
So
You
the
have to
identity of
provide.
somebody is their identity, right?
That's a bit of a tautology, but sure. If human A and
Okay.
human
Well, that's
B
what you're saying.
they are the same in the sense that they are humans, where is the moral justification necessary to say we should treat human A and human B in the same way, especially since human A and human B are different in other ways?
How are they different in other ways?
For example, human B might be stronger than human A. Human B might be smarter than human A.
Okay. And
And therefore, they're not equal in all regards, in all aspects.
so equality doesn't exist under your view.
You're exactly correct.
Okay.
The strong
So
rule the
you're
weak.
so morals don't exist
No, they
under
don't.
your framework.
They don't.
Okay. Okay.
So then,
All
where
right.
we're
So you're not arguing for anything. You're not telling me anything different than what I'm saying. So we agree.
yeah, I
All
don't agree
right.
with human rights,
Well,
for
I
example.
think
No,
okay. That's fine.
you're trying to pull a
That's
fast
fine.
one
You can.
on the audience. I know you can't pull a
I mean.
fast one on me.
I mean.
You know you can't pull a fast one on me. You're
You
trying
can
to pull a fast
say.
one on
You
your
can
audience.
say. You can say that you have a position without a position. That's what you're doing right now.
I mean, a lot of atheists do that all the time of saying, "Yeah, I don't think God exists."
Yeah, but what are you doing right now? What exactly are you doing?
I'm simply providing. I'm just taking that line of thinking to its logical conclusion of no metaphysical justifications exist, and therefore human
Hmm.
rights can't exist.
Okay, cool. So basically, you're telling every religious person in this room right now that their morals don't exist. And I
If
appreciate that. Thank you for that.
sure, can you get back to my argument now, though, about equal rights existing?
Well, you still never gave a definition of what equal rights are.
Equal rights? Yeah, I would say
Hmm.
equal rights are rights that can be applied to every single person. And equal, and when I'm using equal rights, equal in the sense that they're applied to every single person. A right is a duty absent or excuse me, it's an entailment absent a duty.
Okay, so basically, you're just saying that we all have the same value.
No, I never made a value claim.
Okay, so what are rights then?
What are rights? So like I said before, an entailment absent a duty. So, for example, freedom
An
of speech.
entailment absent a duty. What does that even mean?
I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to get the definition out for you. I'll just use an example so you can understand it a little bit easier. Freedom of speech, for example, is a right in the sense that you can speak basically whatever you want, but you don't have the duty. You're not obligated to actually speak, or the right to bear arms.
Yeah, I don't think that this is like following through with the definition, or I don't think you're providing any type of argument for that. So
I'm arguing against. No, I'm arguing against that. You asked me the definition.
What's
of what
the
I
argument
mean.
then?
My argument is that these equal rights, you have no justification for them, therefore you shouldn't be making ought claims for or against them.
So you're arguing for nothing again.
I'm not arguing for nothing. I'm arguing essentially that equal rights don't objectively exist, and we should not necessarily make ought claims. What society should be run off of things that don't exist.
So what's the argument that they have to be objective to make an ought claim?
What's your argument that they have to be objective to make an ought claim?
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of your job. That's your job. You're the one.
Yeah, but I don't.
You're the one who's supporting human rights.
Claim. I never gave an ought claim.
At the beginning, you did. We already went through this like 10 times when you made the ought claim.
That was not an ought claim.
When you said society got better. When you said society got better, and then you tried to run away, but like, oh, I'm just speaking
better
subjective.
as in a subjective evaluation, yes. Better as in a subjective position.
Yeah, you're running.
Yes.
You're running
but
away.
But that's not an ought claim. That's just my attitude towards this. I'm not saying that better is an objective evaluation, right? It's not an objective statement. You're trying to strawman and reposition it into an ought claim.
No, you're the one who's trying to pull a Mon Bailey on me.
It's not an ought.
You're the one who's trying to pull a Mon Bailey on me, dude.
I'm trying to what?
You're trying to pull a Mott and Bailey right now.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a logical fallacy where you say one position, and then if I attack that one position, you shift to a slightly related position and say, you're trying to attack a straw man.
I never said better was an ought claim. That's your straw man.
That's my straw man. Okay, then if it's not objectively better, then why should I care about slavery being eliminated? Why should I care about the establishment of human rights?
What's the argument that it should be objectively better? What's the argument that it ought be an ought?
I don't know. You're the one who brought it up as an ought. It's better.
I just said better as an attitude towards it. I never said it was an ought.
Now you're making the Mon Bailey again. Thank you.
But I never said it was an ought. Your straw man is that I said this, but you're not providing how I said it was an ought. Because I never fucking did.
Oh, someone's a little mad now.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you got consistently strawmanned over something you didn't say, you'd probably be a little salty too, right? It's not an ought.
No. You're the one who is trying to make essentially legalistic.
No, I'm not.
You are.
Don't strawman me.
You are when you say it's better. Most people are not going to ask, okay, what makes it better? Most people are just going to...
Better is not an ought claim.
Most people are just going to assume better implies a sense of inequality.
No, it doesn't. Better implies an attitude towards a proposition.
No, it doesn't.
That's it.
If you say something is better or something is worse or something is more good, something's more bad than something else,
an attitude.
That's
a disposition.
That's not just an attitude. That's disposition. Like I said at the beginning of this conversation. Like I said at the beginning. Let me make the argument.
What's the argument for it being an ought?
Sure, like I said at the beginning of the conversation, if person B is stronger than person A, then he is objectively better at strength.
Okay, now you're trying to strawman the word odds into being better, and vice versa. That's not the sense I'm using it. So you're trying to strawman the word.
What sense are you using it then? What sense are you using it then?
In a preference.
In a preference. Sure, if it's ultimately just a preference that human rights are better, and that's your subjective preference, then therefore,
yes,
I can say subjectively human rights are worse.
I don't hold that above anybody else as an ought. I don't hold that as
So then
an ought
you're just
over
arguing for
anyone
nothing. Then
else.
you're just arguing for nothing.
I'm
That's
arguing
what
the
you're
same way that
doing.
anyone argues for morality subjectively. There's no
Subjectively.
oughts here.
Yeah. Then why do you promote human rights then? Because it's subjectively better. You feel it's better.
Yep.
Okay, and I feel it's worse, and you can't objectively prove me wrong on that.
Okay, good. Because objectivity has nothing to do with it. I don't even know why you keep bringing it in and trying to stranglehold it into that. That's really weird.
Because every single liberal document I've read from the Enlightenment seems to imply that either A, objective morals come from God, and that equal rights come from God, or B, objectivity is self-evident, like the Declaration of Independence, that declares that life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness
So
are
what
rights
would
that are
be the
self-evident.
argument for A? What is the argument? Hold on. What is the argument for A?
I don't. That's not relevant.
Okay, so you have no argument.
No. I do have an argument. Is that you don't have any sort of grounding for equal rights, and therefore by
Yep, I
that.
don't have any objective grounding because I'm not even introducing objectivity into this. That's all you.
Well, I mean, you just gave me the whole debate then that therefore equal rights have no objective grounding. Thank you for proving my point.
Yeah, I mean that's my point too,
So,
right? That
okay.
it's not an objectively moral statement.
So when you try to subjectively moral grandstand at me for saying, oh, you think that rape, slavery, genocide, all these other horrible, evil things are perfectly okay in your book, that also applies to you then, right? They're just subjectively
So
bad.
what is the definition
They're just
of
subjectively
objective
bad, yes or no?
morals?
Are they
What is
subjectively?
what is
Do you answer
what is
questions
the
with other questions
objective
constantly?
what is the
Do you
objective
answer questions with
assessment of
questions?
this? What
Do you
is the
answer
objective
questions
assessment of
with
this?
questions?
What is the
What was my
objective
question?
assessment of this?
What was my
Why are you
question?
running from questions?
No,
Why
you're
are you
the
running
one who
from
just ran from my
questions?
question by asking another question.
All right, so you don't have an objective standard to apply. There is no objective standard. I got it. Yeah. You're not even doing anything right now. You're not even giving a definition of what objective morals are.
What was my question to you? You keep trying to pivot away to what you think you got me on. And like I said before, when it comes to inequality, we see it all the time.
You
In
yourself
all
said that
aspects
you're
of
an
reality.
amoralist.
I am an
You
amoralist.
said that you're an
correct.
amoralist.
You're correct.
Right. So what is different than this view and objective morals? What's the difference?
The difference is pretty clear. Is that your view, and this is all subjectively, by the way. Your view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. It has no empirical evidence for it, which I would say I
This
think we
is
can
all
both
your
agree.
preference. This is your attitude.
We can both
Right.
agree. Wait, let me make
This
the
is your
argument. Let
subjective
me make
opinion.
the stop interrupting me and let me make the argument. Let me make the argument, okay?
So
Let me.
so you
I'm
can finish
trying to
with
make
your
the
opinion.
argument.
Go
So
ahead and
when
finish
I
with your
said
opinion.
I think your view is stupid, I think your view is weak. Your view has no objective truth. It has no objective empirical evidence behind it. Which that's not a subjective statement because, like we've both agreed, empiricism is true. We find our truths based upon the scientific consensus, scientific data, and every single aspect of equality and equal rights that we could think of, that all men are born equal and have equal rights to each other. That's a moral position that you have yet to prove. That's your position to prove it. Why, if both of our positions are subjective, why should I prefer your subjective position over my subjective position? That's my question to you.
Okay. Well, I don't see any ought there.
You don't see any ought. I never made an ought.
Yep. Okay,
Why
cool.
why
So
should I
there's
why
no
should why
oughts
should I
then.
yeah why should I prefer my
there's no
position over your
oughts.
position then?
I don't know. Why do you? Like, I mean, it's a
Why
subjective
do I?
thing that you hold that.
Why do I?
That you could
That
think
that's
it's
your
dumb.
job, host.
You're just saying that's
Host,
your
you keep
preference.
running from this question of why should I
I'm not
actually care
running
about
from
equal
anything.
rights? Yes, you
I'm
are.
just
You are.
demonstrating that you and I have the same position. There's no difference here.
In the sense of
What's the
subjective
difference?
morality. Yes.
We both prefer something that is subjective. Both of us do. correct?
In the sense that morality is subjective, yes. We would both agree that morality is subjective.
Cool. So there is no such thing as objective morality.
Yes, like I've said 20 fucking times.
Cool. Right. So we agree. There's no contention, and you're just arguing just to argue.
No, because you're holding on to metaphysical beliefs.
So what is your argument?
Apparently, you agree
what is
with.
your argument for?
Like inequality?
Yeah. What is your argument for when it comes to objective morality?
I mean, I can't make an argument for objective morality. Why, if we agree that morality is subjective, then why would I make an objective moral argument? What?
Exactly. Right.
What? Yeah, you're the one who's doing that.
Basically, what you're asking is why don't we hold the same preferences? That's literally your question.
No, because you're the one who's trying to enforce your preferences upon me.
When did I try to enforce anything?
When you made the claim that human rights are better, and that getting rid of slavery was a good thing, was better.
And you confused that with an ought.
No, you're doing a mod and barely now, where you're saying, no, I actually fully agree with you. But I bet you, in a normal conversation, let's just say someone approaches you on the street, do you want slavery reinstated? You would say, no, of course not. That's evil. Correct?
I wouldn't say it's evil. I just say don't do it.
Slavery is not evil. Cool. I'm glad we can agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have no issue.
Wait. I would say that it is evil and not to do it.
Oh, wait.
Right.
Wait. Okay. And then where do you draw that from?
From the experience of people that suffered and were harmed by slavery. Right. Do you think harm is something that is not empirically evidenced?
Harm is real. I don't deny that.
Okay, cool. So that's where the judgment is made, the preference is made, the attitude towards the proposition slavery is bad is that it causes harm.
Well, that's a bit of a jump to the conclusion. Why is something bad because it causes harm?
Okay, so I mean, unless you're like a masochist or an outlier and you enjoy harm, but I'm just wondering why you're trying to like argue in the first place when I'm not trying to bring an ought statement.
Because you're arguing for human rights, because you say slavery is, I guess, subjectively evil because it harms people. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so then why is harm evil?
I don't impose that preference on anybody else.
You don't impose that preference. Well, I mean, okay, then you should not be. Do you agree with human rights? Do you agree with democracy then?
So I still don't understand like.
So do you always answer questions with other questions again, like the 20th time?
I just made a statement. I said I don't understand what you're trying to do. That was a statement. It wasn't a question.
Okay, just answer my question straight then. Do you believe in democracy then?
Why am I obligated to answer your question? I'm not answering your question.
Yeah, you don't want to answer my question because it buries you.
Yeah, because it doesn't help your position.
That helps my position fully.
How?
How? Because if you give
what
me,
is your position? I mean, like you say you're an amoralist where you don't believe in morals, but somehow you're still trying to like squeeze in a necessity for moral objectivity, right?
I never.
Is that what you're doing? I'm just confused. Okay. I'm
literally a Nietzschian amoralist, dude. I believe in inequality. I believe in conquest. I believe in might makes right. That's what I believe in, and because the reason why I believe it is because these are things seen in objective nature.
You don't think we should have a government? Do you think we should have a law of the land legislation?
I'm not opposed to those things, but those things generate naturally from human society. Those things, those things generate naturally from human society, how humans biologically operate.
Right. And all of the theists in here probably are mad at that statement that you just made because they believe that it comes from God.
What, the society generates from our biology? No, I think most theists would probably agree with that, at least in some sort of sense.
Okay. So there's no necessity to add a god into that statement, though. So I think what
No.
you're doing is you're supporting natural law that comes from nature and evolution.
You could say to an extent, yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for trying, I guess. But maybe I'll talk to you later. I'm gonna keep going.
Sure.
Later. I'm gonna keep going. Yeah.
Nuke.
All right.
Nuke. They can't deal. Someone actually recognized. Oh yeah, that's Curtis Garvin. He's a
I still
neo
don't
monarchist.
understand what he was even arguing for.
Oh man, the Nietzschean amoralist always gets them, man. The guest is just evil.
Hey, what's going on, dude? Can